Namaste, beautiful. Welcome to Wheel Pose for Beginners practice. So, when I say beginners here, what I mean is someone beginning to practice wheel pose. It's possible that someone who is beginning to practice yoga in general has a bendy enough back that you can go into wheel pose. And that's not going to be the case with most people new to yoga. So, yes, this is for people who have gotten to the point in their back bending practice that you are ready to go into wheel. That being said, wheel's not a beginner pose. So, sometimes people want to get to poses that their body is not ready to go to yet. And wheel is one of the number one poses that I have seen that in. Because it is possible to push up into a not full expression of the pose. I would recommend not doing that. I would recommend that before you push up into wheel, you do a lot of prep work for the back to get the back to the point that it can comfortably go into a proper wheel. Yeah. So I have just made a class that is the road to wheel. So if you can do everything in this class that leads up to wheel, I would feel quite confident in your ability to then go into wheel pose itself. If there is anything along the way in the class that I am referring to that your body is not able to perform yet, I would strongly suggest not starting to practice wheel yet. So, something I talk about a lot is practice versus force, right? So when we say practice and all is coming, it means that we are practicing moving toward these deeper postures. And as long as we're moving in that direction, then there's a good chance that we're going to get there. It does not mean trying to do a pose before we're ready for ego reasons. Wanting to do a specific pose doesn't need to be something that is from the ego, right? But a lot of times it is. Because when we're doing wheel pose, then the thing that we're doing energetically for the most part is we're opening our heart. We're also balancing. And those things can be achieved in other poses as well when the body's not quite ready. If we specifically are like, nope, I want to do wheel, I'm going to do it even if I'm not ready, maybe consider checking the ego. Yeah. And I'm saying that not to be mean. I'm saying that to protect the body, to protect your body. Yeah. All right. So now that I've given my little talk, if you'd like to warm up using the class that I made for the purpose of warming up, that would probably feel really nice. If you feel like you've already warmed up, that is also probably fine. So let's get to it, assuming that you have warmed up. Yes. Okay, I'm not there with you. I cannot make sure, I cannot check to make sure that you're warmed up. Okay? So take care of yourself. That's very important in general and also in yoga. So the first way that we would be getting into wheel is by having your feet down, having your butt down, having our feet nice and close to our butt, and then taking bunny ears with our hands. So taking our hands and placing them next to the ears such that the hands can go all the way down. Now, I again strongly recommend that if, in order to press up to wheel, your feet need to be somewhere over here or your hands need to be somewhere over here, my impression of that is that you have not gotten yet to the point that you can press up to wheel. So once you get to a point in your body that you can have the feet as close as possible to your butt, and you can have your hands right next to your ears, and then you're ready to press up, then you're ready to go into wheel. Okay? So let's go here. So having your feet down, having your bunny ears down. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to press into the floor with the hands, with the feet. And as we do so, we're going to draw the hips and the belly button up toward the ceiling. And as we draw our hips and our belly button up toward the ceiling, then we're going to be really concentrating on that pulling up. Because something that can happen, and I am talking about myself as well, I have experienced this, is something that can happen is once we press up, then we're just kind of sinking down with the hips, with the back, right? And we're just kind of allowing ourselves to be in the pose without being conscious of it, without putting our focus into pulling up. And that is what can hurt the lower back. Yeah? So, also, it will help us to actually get into the pose if we're really concentrating on pull. Yeah? So really be concentrating on that. Be making sure that you're being honest with yourself, that your feet are nice and close to your butt. You're honest with yourself that your hands are right next to your ears and they're all the way down. And if we are here, then we can go ahead and with an inhale, we're going to first come on to the head. So we're going to inhale, we're going to push our hands, push our feet, pull up, and then come on to the head. Okay, how does that feel? If that feels okay, then at this point, we can even keep the hands where they are from here. Yeah? And be pulling up. And then again with an inhale. So let's exhale. And then inhale, push the hands, push the feet, pull the belly button up, pull the hips up. And we have our first wheel. Yeah? And so now once we're up here, what we want to be doing is we want to be pushing to straighten the knees a little bit so that our shoulders now are quite over the hands. Is really to be in our proper wheel. We would like for our shoulders to be over the hands when we're in our full expression. So now let's come back down onto the head. Or if that feels good for you and you want to just keep repeating that, go ahead. So now to come down, we're going to bend the arms. And we're going to allow the head to come down. And now let's rest on the head, continuing to pull the hips up though. Continuing to pull the belly button up. And let's walk the hands up. Let's see if we can go a bit deeper. Only if it feels good. Yeah? And now we have our hands in. And now we can go ahead. We can lift the hips, push the hands, and come back into a little bit deeper. Again, coming over the wrists, coming over with the shoulders. Yeah? Those shoulders, nice straight line with the wrists. And we can either be looking down or we can be looking up. It really doesn't matter. And then we can come back down onto the head. Although at this point, we're not really beginner anymore. And we can lock in the hands a little bit more. And again, pulling up with the hips, pulling up with the belly button, and come back. And then if we're already here and we feel strong, then we can go ahead and we can stand up, which I do have a class on. So if you're not a beginner, and if maybe you just discovered that you're not a beginner, and you want to go into standing up and dropping back to wheel, you can see my class over here for that. It's really fun. I really love dropping back and standing up from wheel. Or if you want to keep practicing this, then that is also amazing. Again, please, please, please be honest with yourself. There is just no reason to force anything when it comes to yoga, unless it's the ego, right? Unless you have in your mind, I want to do this thing, I have to do this thing. No, you don't. Eventually, you're going to get there if you keep working in that direction. Yeah. So, another thing I think to keep in mind is that we do have all of these energetic intentions when we practice yoga. However, they're all specific for our bodies, right? So if you're someone who has a very bendy back, then in order to go deep into heart opening, you're going to need to go way deeper into the back than someone who doesn't have a bendy back, right? So it's all from kind of where you are when you wake up in the morning, right? So if I want to be opening my hips, or if I want to be experiencing more emotions, then for me, I need to do a lot, because when I wake up in the morning, I can go into middle split in about 30 seconds. So I need to do a lot to get to the same place that maybe someone else does to get into a straddle, right? My back is not super bendy, which is why I made an hour class leading up to wheel, because to be completely honest, a part of why I made that class was so that I could teach this, because I would not have felt comfortable even teaching what I just did without taking well over an hour to warm up to do that. Which is why I'm so adamant about any back bending class. It's like, why is she acting like that? Well, I'm acting like that because I hurt my back dropping back to wheel when I was about 8 years old. And we are all adults now, which means that our potential for injury is way higher than when I was 8, and I had been able to backbend for like my entire life. It's not that I couldn't do it. I just did something weird when I was dropping back, and it hurt for the next 25 years. So I'm saying this not to be mean. I promise. I am saying it because I want to protect you, because I love you. Okay. Anyway, I'm done being a mother. So the thing is, I'm not a mother, which means I mother everyone who I encounter, even if it's virtually on YouTube. So sorry, not sorry. I'm doing it for you. Anyway, please let me know if you have any further questions. I will do some advanced backbending postures at some point in the future. Maybe no, who knows? So still, if you have questions, then let me know, and I will do my best to answer them. And otherwise, thank you for being here, for allowing me to guide you with so much love. Namaste.